On this episode of the Slade Ham Experiment, I'm giving away a copy of my book. I wrote it back in 2018. I'm working on the new one. You can win that copy right there. If you want your own copy, go to sladeham.com. If you sign up for the newsletter, you get a free Kindle version just like that. Just boom, in your inbox. But this copy on this episode right here. Buckle up. It's a new episode of The Experiment. Welcome to the Slade Ham Experiment. I'm your host, Slade Ham. Happy whatever week this is. I'm in my deep blue midnight spaceship tonight, drinking unnecessarily late coffee. I've had a week. We're going to get into a lot of things. I want to fill you in on my week, more importantly, my day. We're going to give a copy of my book away. It's out fresh because I wasn't going to do an episode this week. And then when I was going to do an episode this week, I considered punting and not actually having anything to say, just reading a chapter of the book, calling it an episode. Because I believe it's important to show up when you say you're going to show up. I committed myself to doing this once a week, which means I got to be here. I spent a lot of last week. The theme of this episode should be paying taxes, not actual taxes. I'm yet to do that this year. I'm going to have to deal with that as well as some prior year's stuff. But the tax we pay on day-to-day life. I've talked about this before. If you're going to venture out into traffic, the tax you pay is unnecessarily bad drivers, people who aren't considerate. If you're going to go to the grocery store, you're likely going to have to pay a tax of screaming children in line or people blocking aisles or inconsiderate cashiers. There's a tax you pay for everything. The tax for having friends in some instances is some of them you learn are always the victim. And some of them are always alpha males. Nothing bad ever happens to them. I'm so sick of both of these people. Everything is not always perfect and everything is not always wrong. But the story you tell yourself about stuff decides how it's going to feel, right? Bad things always happen to me. Yes, and they will continue to. That's your identity. If bad things don't happen to you, then you don't know who you are. You have to change the identity you associate yourself with. So all of you people that are constantly victims or we've all had bad shit done to us. And we've all done bad shit to other people. Likely that we're probably going to encounter both of those scenarios in the future. Best probably not to identify with predator or prey. That would be my advice. Neither one of those gets to lay in the sun very long. So I'm trudging through my week dealing with my shit and all these other people's shit. And I have a ticket that has gotten out of hand. Now, if you look at my track record going all the way back since I was a kid, I don't handle tickets well. I'm not stupid. I should be able to navigate this process, but I seem to be stymied every time. Doesn't matter what I do, something gets missed, some box is unchecked, some piece of paperwork is lost, some judge is unforgiving, something occurs. It may sound like a victim. Listen, something occurs every time. So I went into it this time. I got a ticket in October. I may have talked about this, I may not. Let me set the stage for what occurred. I got a ticket in October, which I just, oh, my gut feels like entrapment. It's a bit of a road that looks like it gets onto a freeway, but it doesn't get onto a freeway yet. It does one of those hills and then gets on the freeway. So if you're going freeway speed while you're going over the hill, the fat cop likes to sit at the bottom with his little gun and his leg hanging out the door, and he just flags you down. That dude. So I get the ticket. I go to take care of it. I go down to get because my car was not registered, because who checks that shit? So I go down to get my car registered, and they go, well, you got to get it inspected now. So we live in this modern day and age, and this is probably what I'm going to rail on the most. How is our system so poorly designed to take care of things like this? We are electronic. We are digital. We do things via email. and checked digital box and submit buttons and PDFs and JPEGs and Word documents. We're a civilized society living in the future. So when I go to get my registration, they go, well, your car has to be inspected. And I went, oh, okay. Well, let me go get the car inspected. Because in Texas, they're now two different forms. Used to be, you got your car inspected, you got your registration, and they both came with little stickers, and then they combined them. So now to go get your registration, you have to have first done the inspection. So I left there that day, not able to get my car registered, but I could get it inspected. I went and got it inspected. And then I said, well, I can't just rush back to that nightmare place, the registration office. That place is a hellscape. So I'm going to wait a few days. And I had a gig. I had to go to Canada. So I just left. I came back, and I went to get my car registered. And they go, well, sir, that'd be great, but you got it done a month ago, and we need it more current than that, so you're going to have to go get it re-inspected. And I went, Jesus Christ, all right. Oh, so I went and got it re-inspected. The very day. I come back now, having had my car inspected twice. And they give me my registration, and everything's wonderful, and it renews it for a month because they won't do it the second. It's the most ridiculous process you've ever seen. Sorry, sir, we just can't do it. I mean, it's you're gonna have to go get it re-inspected in 60. Is nightmare. So I get it registered for a month, knowing I gotta go back in a month. It was over in November. This is a long-winded story. Let me get to the meat of it. Long story short, they give me the piece of paper I need. I mail it all into the court by the proper amount of time, the exact date. It's postmarked. I even go down to the post office. I can go inside and make sure the postmark's on it. I do everything properly. And then I find out a few days ago that I have a warrant. That the piece of paper I placed inside the envelope with my information on it saying I paid for the registration and the inspection to get done wasn't in there. Just, who knows? No, we just didn't get it. Here's a warrant. Well, it's not here. I went through all of that. I made sure it wasn't me who left it. I triple-checked that envelope. I will tell a bit of a story here in a moment that will make me question my own veracity. But I went, okay, I got a warrant. I got to go fix this. So what do I do? I'll just go down and get a copy of the receipt for what I paid for late last year. And I go down to the registration office, and they go, well, your car is not registered. That expired in November. We can't give you a receipt for that last November. We don't have that anymore. You can re-register your car. And I go, okay, all right, well, let's just re-register it because we just went through this in November. It's January. Let me just re-register it until November. And they go, well, you got to go get your car re-inspected. So I took the gun barrel out of my mouth. Jesus. This was Friday. So today, I woke up determined to go finish this. I drove down to the registration office. Before I did that, I stopped to get my car inspected. I made a decision that I was just going to pull in. There's a spot right by my house. I'm not going to give the place's name because it'll tell you where I live. But I've hated this place every time I've ever walked or driven by it. The mechanics who drive the cars out of the driveway do it violently. I don't know why. I've never seen a car zip in or out of there slowly. They're maniacs. And it just feels bad energy when you drive by it. But I said, well, let me just give it a whirl. It's the closest thing to my house. I'm leaving. I'm going to pay the taxes on today. Whatever they may be, we're going to get this done. We're going to get this over with. This is the cost. I'll suffer through these bad people, or perhaps I'll prove that they're good people. I go in, give the guy my key. And there's nobody in the office. It's just a bald white guy working behind the counter. Relatively certain he's the owner. I think he's got his mom tied up in the office. She's answering questions every now and again from the background. You know, the kind of mom and pop spot. And the TV over here has got the news on it. I just go, hey, man, how you doing? I need to get my car inspected if you can. And I set the key down on the thing. He goes, all right, what you driving? That's the Acura out there. All right, you see the news? And he points at the camera. Oh, yeah, I'll pay attention to that. Brazil's on fire. You gotta look at it. You gotta look at it. What do you mean I gotta look at it? There's terrible things happening. And then my ear picks up the fact that in the low volume, round the corner of the room, he's listening to Alex Jones, who's just ranting and wailing. You got to understand the vaccines. That's what's killing all these athletes. All these athletes are being killed by the vaccine. Joe. I've got all the documents right here. It's the new variant and the new vaccine. You got to understand the RNA goes into your ear and then it burrs its way down until it gets to your lungs and then you explode. That's the science, Joe. He's listening to that shit in the background, and he's trying to tell me to look at Brazil over here. And I just want my car inspected. So I just quit responding. I went, no response. I just go sit down because I want to say so much stuff. But I can't because he's still got my car, and I'm not going to fail an inspection because he's some right-wing idiot, you know? So I sat there until my car was done. I was already on edge. I've been sitting in that stupid registration place. Absolutely miserable. So I sat there and I waited till my car was done. And I handed him my card to pay for it. And I said, "Sir," I go, why would you point that out to me earlier? And I just waited. He goes, well, what do you mean? Well, I walked in. You don't know anything about me, bro. Nothing. You don't know my politics, my beliefs, my background. Maybe I'm Brazilian. Maybe I'm from there. Maybe I speak Portuguese. Maybe I have a history with that country. Maybe you don't know anything about me. But you just going to point out some shit like that. Well, I just thought, what'd you think? You think I need to be as afraid as you are? I'm saying all this thing. I'm just asking. He's just looking at me like nobody's ever questioned his insane tendency to tell total strangers to look at shit that they have nothing to do with. I said, why do you care about Brazil, sir? I go, what's the impact on your life? You run a mechanic shop. Are a lot of your employees Brazilian? Do a lot of them work in Bolsonaro's regime? What's your connection to this madness that you have to tell strangers to pay attention to it? He's just looking at me blank face. I go, into Alex Jones, bro? Come on. He just ran my card. I just signed it. I just said, just be happier, brother. And I walked out. I took that stupid form down to the registration office where I had to sit down next to some 60-year-old Mexican dude who was listening to his phone on just loud. Just out there. No speakers, no headphones. Speakerphone? That's what you went with to watch TikTok videos, you 60-year-old man? That lack of self-awareness blows my mind. So I'm tiptoeing through this entire minefield. I finally get the inspection and the registration done. I'm very proud of myself. I have all the forms. I go, well, let me go back to the house and breathe for 10 minutes. I come home, take a deep breath. I go, I need to print out the forms to take down to the court, make sure I got everything. Because when I say I'm finishing this today, I'm finishing this today. So I print out my driving record. I print out my defensive driving certificate. And then I start going through the paperwork on my desk, and I'm like, what do I need? I need this, I need this, I need this. Then there's like an old receipt for some stuff. I'm like, I don't need that. There's no way I'm taking that. No way. Then I go, man, you know how mad you're going to be if you get down to that stupid courthouse and you don't have, and this is the piece of paper you're supposed to have, and you went through all that, and you don't have this piece. Man, just bring it, you knucklehead. So I stuck it in my folder, walk out the door. Now, I thought this is one of my big flaws. I get cocky with myself. I think I'm smarter than I am sometimes. I got a moderately photographic memory that haunts me. And when I talked to the lady on the phone who had explained all the stuff I needed to do last week, she said, when you have all of these things, these 4 things that I now have, She goes, you're going to need to go to this address. And I wrote down 1400, and I thought it was Franklin. So I jump in my car, and I don't check, I don't Google, I don't do anything. I just drive to 1400 Franklin. And when I get there, I confidently can see out of the corner, that's a courthouse. Hell yeah, you remembered exactly what you were supposed to be doing. So I park my car, now for the second time in the city, and I pay the meter, and I go walking over there. And as I get to the bottom, it says civil courthouse. I go, what the I know I remembered 14. So I Google it. Turns out that it's 1400 Lubbock Street. What are the odds that I remembered 1400, that I just picked a random street that I thought it was attached to, that it went to a courthouse and was the wrong courthouse? I realized this once I'd halfway gone through security, came back out, got my car, went to back out because the curbs in downtown Houston are about 1.5 feet high. I heard as I scraped my back passenger fender on the stupid Houston curb. This is all pre-noon today. But whatever, I got the solution. I Google it. I go down to 1400 Lubbock, which is a different courthouse, the municipal courthouse, the one I was supposed to be at. Go down there, park again. They hit me for another $5. I'm just trying to give y'all money. Why are you taking my money? I go inside. I wait in all the lines. I go through all the security. I get a spot in front of the judge. I go to see the judge. I tell the judge everything. I explain it all. He goes, cool. We'll probably dismiss this and this and this. Just show me your defensive driving certificate. And I look down at my folder and realize that while I was busy arguing with myself about the piece of paper I didn't need, I was leaving my defensive driving certificate on my printer. And I just tell the judge, I go, look, judge, I don't know how all these places aren't talking to each other, right? I don't know how the registration office couldn't just call and find out my car was inspected. I don't know how the car inspection place couldn't just look on a computer and see why my car had insurance. I'm not certain why you can't just look and see why that I've taken defensive driving. He goes, no, we need the actual paper. And I go, well, I could pull it up on my phone. And he goes, put that phone down. You were supposed to turn that off the minute you walked in the courtroom. I'm like, I know, but we live on them now, and that's where all my information is. Put it down. I was like, okay, sir, your honor, your majesty, whatever the fuck your name is. I go, I can't just show you the like this is the real deal. What's the difference between this and me printing it on a piece of paper? This is, what sort of antiquity are we living in? I'm so confused. And he goes, well, that's okay. You just got to go do it. There's a Staples up there. I live 2 minutes from here. I'll just go. I had to go all the way home, come all the way back. The courthouse is still making you wear masks. Mind-boggling. They're yelling at people who show up without masks like they should have known to show up to court with a mask on 2 years after it's relevant. Like, I don't even understand the implementation of this rule. And then you just stand outside, close the door, don't open the door without your mask. We'll get to you when we have time, when everybody else that's regular and showed up like a decent human being puts on a mask. Like, all right. That wasn't even me. When I got there was a little box of masks, and I just took one. But they were screaming at other people. Nobody who works for the county or the city or the municipalities of any sort is a decent human being. Your soul has just been sucked out of your body. You can actually watch it leave while they're working. It's the most, they can't communicate. They're absolutely horrible. Next. If you don't answer their question immediately, they just ostracize you from the whole process. They act like you should know how all this stuff works. I had a ticket in 10 years. Homie, just help me navigate this. I'll give you all the money in the world. Just make me stop spending my whole goddamn life in a stupid courthouse. Got me cutting down 37 trees because you don't know how to read an email. That's absurd. The reason I bring all that up, it's a good reason to have a gratitude list. I know, that's a long way to get there. Stoicism will tell you to spend some time being grateful. Spend some time with your gratitude. Think of the things that you're grateful for. keep them at the forefront of your mind. But nobody ever really tells you why. The truth is that if you focus on that stuff instead of all this negative stuff, that's what's in your head, even when you're going through the terrible things. So even while I'm sitting there waiting to go talk to some dumb registration officer or some dumb, fat, racist, angry conspiracy theory dude who works at a gas station, just flipping through photos of my nephew, making myself smile. It's the only way to get through this world. All right, what left? I need to show you. Let's do the book. I got a book. I wrote a book. I'm writing a second book, which is part of why my week's terrible. This one's called Until All the Dragons Are Dead. I want to read an excerpt. Let's do that. What if I read a little bit to you? I'll give this copy away to somebody in the comments. It's weird, man, I haven't reread any of this in a long time. So this will be fresh for me. I did not do an audio version of this book. I answered that. Somebody asked that question a week or two ago. I will in the next one. But this is called Silent Warrior, from Until All the Dragons Are Dead. If you want a copy, it's available on my website. More importantly, it's available on Amazon because I don't have to ship it. Here we go. Silent Warrior. It started at 3 a.m. and it hasn't stopped. It is relentless. It's the second attack in as many days, and my sanity may suffer for it. I am under siege by the most well-trained mosquito assassin on the planet. I have forever been aware of the buzzing annoyance that accompanies most mosquitoes. My springs and summers were plagued by clouds of mosquitoes for as long as I can remember. This one is a special breed. A regular attacker can be isolated by its sound. You listen as it gets closer and closer and then slap the last place you heard it. I've killed them by the hundreds over my lifetime, and I'm afraid that's why they've sent this demon warrior after me. The Uric High of this insect world. If you're confused, let me explain. This satanic little bug doesn't buzz. There is no warning, no tickle of the ear, no sudden silence to notify an imminent sting. Just the feeling of her tongue or beak or whatever it is that punctures your flesh 1,000 times in a single night. I've read The Art of War. I know the strategies of combat work. Sun Tzu says to know your enemy, and I do. I know that they're attracted to white and things that expel carbon dioxide, and I know I am both of those. But how do you fight something you cannot see? This female ninja warrior trained in guerrilla warfare is unbeatable. From out of the darkness she comes, and, unrelenting in her hatred for me, tactically locates pieces of skin that extend past the protection of the hotel comforter. The comforter is usually the first thing I fling to the floor when I check into a hotel. I've never been convinced that the hotels wash them. But now it is my last true layer of defense. I feel the sting and I tighten the muscle where she jabs me, hoping to somehow capture the proboscis in my arm and mash the mischievous little sprite into a puddle of her thorax and my own blood. But she's gone again. I drift back to sleep. Another fitful 20 minutes before the next salvo comes. Is there more than one? There must be. If she's a lone wolf, she should be huge. She's had over a pint of my blood. Lie in wait, feel the sting, turn on the light and look for the thing that's the size of a softball. But she's not there. She hasn't flown up to the light or landed on the wall like a typical soldier. She is simply gone, vampiric in her tendencies to bite and then fade into the night. Am I going to turn into a mosquito now? I can't see her, I can't fight her, and I certainly don't want to become her. My only resort is to cocoon myself in the covers, leaving nothing exposed. It's hot and uncomfortable, but it will prevent further damage. Wrap up, tend to my wounds, reassess the battle in the morning. She has to sleep sometime. I'll be safe in my... Ouch! Are you fucking kidding me? How did she do that? I just got stung again. Sweet Christmas, she's in here with me. That, or her stinger's long enough to penetrate this blanket. Oh my God, what if it is? What if I'm really up against some vampire bird with a foot-long pike and a cloaking device? I'm not going out like this. Covers off, lights on. I roll out of bed and hit the floor. Fists up. Let's do this, motherfucker. And just like that, she's gone again. Am I crazy? No. The marks are still there, aren't they? It's 7 o'clock in the morning now. Maybe this is the product of my own delirium. Maybe there's no mosquito at all. How ridiculous am I being? There are no non-buzzing mosquitoes. I'm just tired. Go back to bed. Stop hallucinating. Of course, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world she did not exist. And that is how she beat you. So I'm giving it away. I'll sign that one now that it's a demo copy. Leave a comment. Tell me why you want it. That's simple. I'll pick somebody at random. Gratitude lists are important. Make a list of things that bring you peace, that bring you joy, that you're fortunate to have. Keep them handy. Keep those things in the forefront. It makes people cutting you off in traffic, or people with their speakerphones on in the registration office, or judges who don't understand you, or clerks who work the window who aren't very kind, or people who are having a bad day, or all the other things that happen. Racist gas station guy. All those things easier to navigate when you are freshly focused on the big pile of cool stuff that has happened to you in your life, and not the big pile of muddy, negative dog shit that you normally wallow around in. We're not all victims. We're not all heroes. We're all somewhere in the middle, trying to figure it out, trying to make it together. And today I intersected with about 20 of those people who don't get that. And I'm sure in their list, as they're recounting their week or their day or their life, I might be the very same person that I feel like they've been to me. Let's be better, people. Cheers. Until next week, I hope your life is peaceful and uneventful in all the bad ways and eventful in all the good ways. Leave a comment, hit subscribe. I'll figure out how to give you the book. Cheers.